should kids use AI in schools or not, right? How can I use this in the same way, shape, or form? So when I think about AI from a learning perspective, I think of it as kind of like a pocket tutor. I can use that to help accelerate my learning at a rate that I couldn't do in a large group setting. So I can watch a bunch of YouTube videos, I can go to classes, I can do all these different types of things, but being able to truly interact and have a tool that helps guide me through kind of where my sticking points are in understanding. That's the best way that I know how to use AI as kind of an education or learning tool. So if you think about this from a business perspective, if you've got a sales team, you're meeting with them maybe daily, a couple times per week, something like that. You're bringing everybody together into almost like a classroom style, and you're doing some sales training. But if you can augment that or supplement that with having kind of a sales tutor, a one-to-one sales tutor in every salesperson's pocket that can give them immediate feedback on their sales calls, on how they're going about things, their role playing, things like that. Their ability to learn, say 3 times, 4 times, maybe even 10 times faster than only doing the group sessions. I think that's where it can be a total game changer for like leveraging this as an education tool within a business. Interacting with AI is it's an interesting way to think about it. So when we think of when the internet first came out, when we moved into social media, things like that, the interacting with the platform required a lot of learning. It required a lot of like understanding how the tool worked. So you think of ChatGPT, you think Gemini, you think Claude, you think of Perplexity, all of these different chatbots. It's really just a conversation. It's just another person that you're talking to. So if you think about it as an individual, as someone on your team, and you have a conversation with them, it will gradually learn things as you go. The best way that I can think about it, the best way I can articulate it is if you're someone out there that has hired a team before and you've got team members, how would you go about bringing somebody onto your team? Well, first you go through a recruitment and hiring process, but you bring them on, you'd onboard them, right? So if we're going to onboard a new team member, we're going to take them through training. We're going to take them through our systems and processes. We're going to take them through, here's what it's like to be a part of our world. Interacting with any of your AI chatbots, if you want to make them super effective, you do the same thing. You onboard them into your world. You teach them some of your standard operating procedures. You show them what it's like to be a part of the company culture. You train them on the things that you specifically want them to be trained upon. You give them the context to be able to respond back and give you feedback as they're going through different tasks or thinking problems that you're going to work with them on. Do I recommend training and getting all of my team members to think about or using different AI tools? Yeah, I do. I think it's really important. I've had the opportunity to have some conversations with some larger companies. So think of some of the folks that are running 20, 30, 40 million dollar and plus, larger size businesses. And one of the coolest things that I've seen is almost every single one of them I've had a conversation with, they actually have an objective or a KPI for every single person in their business on the topic of AI. So far as there was one I was listening to recently where a team member cannot come and ask for a budget increase or new tools or anything else like that. They can't ask for any of those things until they've proven that AI cannot do it. I think there's so many different use cases for AI that I don't believe I could sit here and come up with every single one of them. But tapping it into every position in my company, position within my clients' companies, for them to be thinking about how do I use the knowledge base of the team members that I already have and help them become better at what they're doing by leveraging the new technologies that are out there. If you don't do that, you're sleeping on it a little bit. So I'm a huge fan of having team members look at how do I use this to become better? How do I use this to augment the things that I'm already doing? Maybe it's more productivity. Maybe it's a different or even better outcome than what they could have gotten before. Multiple different kind of outputs that could come depending on what the role is or how they're using it. But there's a lot of leverage in being able to learn and use it, and it's only going to evolve and change over time. So I'd rather create the habit for team members to learn how to use it and figure out how to use it within their roles versus not using it at all. AI tools that I recommend for business owners, I'd say really there's a lot of different ones that that we can use, but I would start with a basic chatbot. If you're not using, any of the chat tools like a ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, if you're not starting with those, I think it becomes a little bit harder to understand how the rest of the tools can work. These are the most available, these are the most affordable. It's a great place to start and learn how to use it. So I'm a fan of using ChatGPT. It's the one that I started with, so I tend to use it a lot. I've been using Gemini a bit just because there's integrations within the Google ecosystem that's been pretty nice. If it's deeper into writing or kind of some technical type things, Claude is really, really good for that. What type of business you have, I think will depend on which one of those maybe get prioritized over the other, but pick one. Pick one chatbot to start with and then go all in. Ask it the question of how do I use you for business? So rather than just saying, well, now I got to go figure out how to use this new tool, walk in and like literally ask the question. Go in and write the very first prompt that you put into ChatGPT and say, hey, I'm brand new to using AI. My business is a XYZ company. What is the best way that I can learn about how to use this tool of ChatGPT effectively? And it will spit out a response to be able to start just walking through that process. And then you go back and forth, have a conversation with it. The more that happens, the more you learn, fast feedback loops, and you start to figure out the best way to use it within the business. I think starting with a chatbot is going to be the easiest place to go. And then I'd branch off and look at what are some specialized things that I need within the business. If it's a content creation type thing and you're not going out and getting a whole media team and things like that, there's some tools like Descript, which is really good, makes it easy to edit videos if it's not something that you've got a lot of skill in. Opus Clips is a great one to be able to take long form video and cut it into shorts without having to manually do each one of those types of things. And then some of the, I'd say, automation tools where you can integrate AI into. So things like make.com, Zapier, N8N, those are all great ways to start connecting different resources you may already have within the business. If you've got a CRM, you've got a database system, you've got a project management tool, being able to connect those with some of those automation type tools. Those are probably going to be the easiest, lowest hanging fruit, but don't sleep on the chatbots themselves. When it comes to ChatGPT as an example, there's two kind of unlocks that I really love about the tool that has helped me leverage that more within a couple different businesses that I work in. The first one is if you get a pro plan, you can get access to projects, which is essentially looks like folders. So you can have different folders for different things. You can have one for planning, one for marketing, one for sales, right? You can kind of go down the list of the things that you'd want to have like categorized wise. But each of these you can create instructions for. So you go in and you create very specific instructions for marketing. I want this one folder to have an identity around the best marketers in the world and how to create offers and how to write copy and how to write emails. And then it becomes an expert in just that topic. So it becomes a specialist on marketing whenever you're doing chat threads within that particular one. The second one is going to be custom GPTs. So I know there's a colleague of mine that's down in Florida, and she's been creating custom GPTs for various specific things within the business, whether that's something in the coaching world. How do we train it on this one thing so that team members can get up to speed on how to deliver this at a high quality consistently time and time again. So there's a lot of power within even just the chat tools that are available. So that's why I say that's like the number one to start, and then start to branch out into say specific ones depending on what the needs are within the business. What are some prompts that I've been using recently? Maybe a better question is how many times have I used the AI tools today? So I'm trying to like go back in my mind on what are the ones I've even done today. So I've got one right now. I'm in the process of potentially hiring a very specific virtual assistant. This is on kind of tech and automation. I want them to start being kind of the doer of a few different things here. So I started a conversation with ChatGPT in a very specific project that I'm mapping out. I asked it, I told it from a prompting standpoint, I told it exactly what I was looking to do. So I'm in the process of hiring this VA for the business. Here's some of the things that are in kind of the job description. Here's some different things that are going on in my business. I need to be able to outline a handful of things to get them started. What are some things that I can think about when it comes to giving them their first 90 days worth of work? And it starts to kind of prompt out some additional questions and things like that. So that's one that I used today. Over the weekend, late last week, similar types of things, thinking about how can I use different things within the business, taking a specific business line and asking questions, how can I make it better? So one of my favorite things to do is prompt the chat tool with specifically what I'm looking to solve. So kind of outline what that end result is, give it some context, and then ask it to ask me questions to better understand the direction that we want to go. So now instead of giving me just a response, it gives me a response plus maybe 3 or 4 different questions that allow me to think deeper and ask different questions so that the tool has the most context possible to give me the best possible outcome. If you're a business today, to get a leg up, you have to implement AI. I don't care what level you start at, but choosing to do anything with AI today, find one thing in the business that you can start to think about AI with, not even necessarily solve that specific problem or that specific role with AI, but start to think about how can I use AI in that one specific thing. That's how you get a leg up. It still blows my mind today that AI has been here for a year, maybe 18 months at this point. I know it's technically been around a little bit longer than that, but really starting to kind of cultivate in today's culture. And yet I will still talk to business owners who just think, I'll figure that out later. I'll worry about this at another time. I don't have the bandwidth to learn another thing. And the fact that there's still so many people that default to that way of thinking simply by using AI in any way within your business, that's how you get a leg up. You start today. You take one action that you can do, put it together, and you start to take one step forward to leverage AI in any way within the business.